There's a stillness that settles after 70, a quiet unlike any other. It's not the comforting hush of a home filled with memories or the calm after a lively family gathering. It's heavier, like the air itself is holding its breath. You know it, don't you? The mornings when the house feels too still, the coffee cools too fast, and the toast tastes like routine. The phone sits silent, the chair by the window waits untouched, and the world outside seems to hum along without you. You linger a little longer at the grocery store, hoping for a smile from the cashier, or stretch out a chat with a neighbor on their morning walk. These fleeting moments become lifelines, proof you're still part of the world. But when you close the door behind you, the silence returns, wrapping around you like a fog. For so many of us, life was once loud with purpose. Raising kids, fixing leaks, planting gardens, hosting holidays. We were needed, noticed. But after 70, when children move away, friends drift or pass, and the calendar empties, a quiet loneliness can creep in. I used to think this was just aging, as unavoidable as gray hair or creaky knees. I told myself solitude was freedom, that I was lucky to have peace. But some days that peace felt more like isolation, a subtle but profound difference. Solitude is a choice, a space you carve for yourself. Loneliness is what happens when connection slips away, not just with others, but with meaning, with purpose, with the spark that makes waking up worthwhile. Science backs this up. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a health risk. Studies from the National Institute on Aging show it can harm your heart, raise blood pressure, deepen depression, and even hasten dementia, cutting life expectancy as much as smoking or inactivity. Yet, so many of us over 70 accept it, thinking it's just how life goes. It's not your fault if you felt this way. Our world often overlooks the emotional needs of seniors, focusing on pills and checkups while ignoring the heart's quiet ache. But here's the truth. Loneliness isn't a life sentence. Nearly 1 in 3 Americans over 65 lives alone, and that number climbs after 70, especially after losing a spouse or friend. Yet, even those surrounded by family can feel isolated if they don't feel seen or heard. What we crave isn't just company, it's connection, the kind where your story matters. And there's a gentle, real way to find it, starting with one small step. I guess this is just what happens when you get old. I've heard it from friends, neighbors, even strangers in line at the store. It's the quiet resignation we whisper when our knees ache, our memory falters, or our energy fades. We've been taught that aging means losing a little of ourselves each year, vitality, joy, purpose. For years I believed it too. I laughed off my forgetfulness as senior moments, shrugged at my stiff joints, and told myself tiredness was my new normal. But one crisp autumn morning, as golden leaves danced outside my window, I realized I'd been in a fog for months. I slept longer but woke up exhausted. Meals lost their flavor. I said no to friends' invitations, feeling like a ghost in crowded rooms. This is just aging, I told myself. But deep down I wondered, does it have to be this way? That question changed everything. A University of Michigan study found that nearly half of adults over 65 believe their struggles are just aging, untouchable by solutions. That belief is dangerous. It stops us from seeking answers. Our bodies and minds are incredible communicators. Feeling sluggish, sad, or forgetful isn't always just age. It could be dehydration, a medication side effect, or a lack of connection, which science says is as harmful as smoking. Depression, too, is more common in seniors than we admit, often dismissed as the blues. My turning point came when my daughter nudged me to see my doctor. I almost didn't go, convinced it was pointless. But he listened, really listened. He adjusted a medication that was sapping my energy, suggested a vitamin D supplement, and pointed me to a weekly walking group at the park. Small changes can surprise you, he said. Skeptical but curious, I tried. Over weeks, my steps felt lighter, my mood brighter. The walking group wasn't just exercise, it was laughter, shared stories, and new faces who didn't mind my slow pace. My friend Harold, 81, had a similar awakening. He thought his afternoon fatigue was inevitable until his granddaughter roped him into a simple stretching routine. They laughed through it, but soon he felt more awake, more alive. It wasn't a miracle, just a spark of belief that things could improve. So if you've been blaming age for your aches or emptiness, pause. Ask yourself, could this be a signal? Is there a small step I can take? A doctor's visit, a new recipe, a walk, an art class. You don't need a grand gesture, just a willingness to try. You matter and you deserve to feel strong, seen, and hopeful, no matter your age. Aging brings challenges, but it also brings wisdom and the chance to write new stories. Don't settle for just aging. Let curiosity lead you to something better. Life after 70 can feel like a faded photograph. Once vibrant, now muted, with days blending into one another. My house was too quiet, my routines mechanical. Watering plants, reading the paper, slow walks around the block. It was busy work, not living. I felt like I was watching life from the sidelines, unable to step back in. Then came a Tuesday afternoon, unremarkable, except for a call from my neighbor, Linda. She mentioned a new storytelling circle at the community center, a place for seniors to share memories. Just come listen, she said, her voice warm with invitation. I almost backed out. Doubts swirled. It's too late. I won't fit in. What do I have to say? But something in her kindness pushed me to grab my sweater and step out the door. The community center glowed with soft light and the hum of voices. Folding chairs formed a circle and people, mostly over 70, shared stories. One spoke of childhood during the war, another of a first love under summer stars. No one competed. They simply shared, passing memories like treasures. I sat quietly, nervous, until someone's tale of learning to ride a bike pulled me back. To my own childhood, the wind in my hair, my father's steady hand. Before I knew it, I was sharing my story of driving across the country with just a map and a heart full of dreams. The group listened, laughed, nodded, clapped. For the first time in years, I felt seen, not for my age or aches, but for the life I'd lived. Science explains this magic. Sharing stories releases oxytocin, the connection hormone, easing anxiety and strengthening bonds. Psychologists say storytelling doesn't just revisit the past, it makes us feel alive in the present, reinforcing neural pathways that keep us sharp and valued. You don't need to be a natural storyteller. Just listening, laughing, or sharing. A small memory is enough. It's about connection, not performance. Tuesdays became my anchor. I baked cookies for the group, learned names, swapped numbers. We called to check in, shared funny stories, and celebrated small victories. My sleep deepened, my walks lengthened, the fog around my days lifted. Another member, Marjorie, 84, thought her stories were unimportant until she shared a memory of dancing in Times Square on VJ Day. The group hung on her every word, and she blossomed, organizing birthday cards and bringing photos to share. I thought my best days were gone, she told me, eyes shining. But now I'm living again. The secret isn't storytelling itself. It's the act of reaching out, of joining the circle of life in a way that feels right for you. Maybe it's a walking group, a library volunteer shift, a gardening club, or a phone call to an old friend. Studies show that even one weekly group activity can slash depression and memory issues in seniors simply by fostering belonging. If you're nervous, that's okay. Most people are. But the world is full of communities waiting for you. Local centers, libraries, churches, or online groups for book clubs, crafts, or virtual coffee chats. Start small. Call someone you miss. Check your community center's schedule. Try one thing that sparks hope. You're not invisible or finished. Your stories, wisdom, and laughter are needed. Take that step, and you might find, like I did, that the world is ready to welcome you back. When I first walked into that storytelling circle, I expected little, a way to pass the time, nothing more. But that single step opened a door I didn't know was there. Looking back, I see the gifts it brought, treasures I never imagined at 70. First, I found anticipation. My calendar, once a desert of doctor's visits and errands, now had a bright, red circle around Tuesday evenings. Thinking about what story I'd share or what I'd hear gave my weeks a pulse, a rhythm of hope. Even small events, when looked forward to, paint your days with color. Then came the connections. Sharing stories with people who'd lived through the same as the Beatles' first chords, the moon landing's glow, the bittersweet weight of loss, was like finding a lost language. We laughed over stubborn kids and broken down cars, cried over shared griefs, Jim's farm tales, Alice's nurse adventures, Marjorie's dancing days. They weren't just stories. They were bonds, forged in vulnerability and joy. We became a family, celebrating birthdays, comforting sorrows, reminding each other we belonged. My confidence grew too. I'd started to feel invisible, my voice irrelevant. But when the group listened to my stories, their eyes lighting up, I rediscovered my worth. I spoke up more, volunteered at the library, wrote letters to old friends. That spark spread, lighting up my entire life. Science supports this. Social engagement slows cognitive decline by up to 70% per the Rush Alzheimer's Disease Center. Conversation and laughter keep the brain agile, stress low, and health strong. But the greatest gift was purpose. After retiring, I'd lost the sense of being needed. The storytelling group showed me my memories were a gift, not just for me, but for others. When a young woman visited our group and said my story made her see her grandmother differently, I realized we're bridges between generations, keepers of living history. Not every moment was easy. Some stories carried pain, lost loves, regrets. But sharing them brought healing, a reminder we're not meant to carry burdens alone. My sleep improved, my appetite returned, and my doctor noticed my new energy. "Keep at it," he said, smiling. All from one small step. If you're skeptical, I get it. I was too. But the simplest changes can spark the biggest transformations. Ruth, nearly 80, told me, "I thought I was just drifting through these years. Now I laugh, I cry, I live." You have so much to give and receive no matter your age. Your wisdom, kindness, and laughter belong in this world. Whether through storytelling, gardening, volunteering, or a single phone call, one step can change everything.